A lot of companies involved in social media these days, they do that to be successful. Question is, who exactly should a company hire to be their social media expert, their guru, their voice? Kevin Hayes is here with us this morning with a lot of really good tips. Kevin is a local social media expert. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Before we get to the tips on who you should hire and who should be behind, your Twitter account or Facebook account, what types of companies should be involved in social media?
That's a great question. I work with companies that are publicly traded on the TSX, companies that develop medication that are regulated by the FDA, to credit unions, oil and gas companies, down to local businesses. And I've never run into an organization that isn't a right fit for social media. The question is how can they resource out social media, and do they what capacity do they engage in social media?
Yeah.
Not everybody needs to be out there yelling
Sure.
and tweeting and Facebooking, but everybody needs to take certain steps to make sure they're protected online.
Yeah, no kidding. And that gets to the point as to the man or woman that you decide to hire to be kind of the voice behind your social media. How do you choose? What do you look for,
Yeah, that's a real interesting question, because there hasn't been this role needed traditionally 5 or 6 years ago. So really what it comes down to is, if you're first hiring or you're looking to place somebody in your company, things like common sense and maturity should be at the top of the priority. Obviously, some type of communications and marketing background would be a huge asset. And somebody who's not afraid of technology, who can use their mobile device, who can take on the next social media platform or the next digital platform and run with it.
It's usually when you think social media, I guess the stereotypical person is like a teenager or a young 20-year-old kind of out there Facebooking friends and whatnot. And hiring somebody that young is sometimes not a good thing to do, right?
Well, I think more important than age, it comes back again to maturity, common sense. Your organization should have some type of social media policy that indicates what happens if something goes wrong, if a mistake is made, if somebody tweets to the wrong account, which happens all the time, no matter how big or small your organization is. So maturity and the ability to use technology isn't always necessarily defined by age.
Yeah, okay, so it's not just age. You could have a very mature 24-year-old or
right.
really immature 34-year-old.
That's right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, and this person, this man or woman, they must need to know quite a bit about what your business is too, right?
That's another great point. The ability to tie social media into your larger business objectives is really, really key, because we're not tweeting for the sake of tweeting. We're not Facebooking for the sake of Facebooking. What we're trying to do is use those platforms to connect to our bigger business goals, whether it's lead generation, more revenue, decrease the cost, hiring employees, getting your brand out there. Whatever your corporate objectives are, your social media person has to be able to connect your digital media to those goals.
Yeah, through the digital media, just to even get looks on your face or on your web page, right? Like even just to get people kind of looking at what you have to offer. Yeah. I mean, how integral do you think it is, though, for a company right now? Like, is it key? Like, do people need to be started putting their toes into this water?
Absolutely. At the bare minimum, companies need to first protect their brand and their company online.
Sure.
So that means reserving your brand or URL on all the major social media outlets like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, SlideShare. Second thing companies need to do is create a policy, so the whole company knows what the official stance is on social media with that company. And then the third thing that's absolutely crucial is monitoring. And whether or not you want to engage in social media, go and talk about it, or if you just want to sit on the sidelines and watch, it's really important that your organization and your brand monitors what people are saying about
you and your product.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good advice. Kevin Hayes, a local social media expert here in town. If anyone has any questions, how do they get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me is you can connect with me on Twitter at my Twitter handle is Kevin Hayes CA.
CA, okay.
Or you can visit my website at www.kevinhayes.ca.
All right, and Hayes, by the way, is Hayes.
Yes.
So Kevin Hayes, CA, and then your website as well. Good stuff. Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks.
Still.